198, one fewer than yesterday. Another 13 COVID patients have died.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
A warming trend takes us into the rest of the week and weekend. Higher humidity leading to some patchy, dense fog during the overnight and early morning hours was an issue today and will be an issue over the next several mornings. High temperatures mid-70s on Wednesday, upper 70s to near 80 degrees Thursday, Friday, and into the start of the weekend. Now, it does look like a cold front moving through Saturday will begin knocking temperatures down through the later evening and night, so perhaps a cooler Saturday night. A cooler day on Sunday with some lingering isolated showers and highs into the lower 60s. A disturbance will trigger another chance for some rain on Monday, but then cooler as we get into the start of next week, likely more on an upswing of our temperatures building toward Christmas. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin.
I'm Chris Miller, WWL First News.
From the station you turn to when it counts, WWLAMFM.com and the Odyssey app, Louisiana's official emergency management station. This is Ida Recovery Connection with attorney Doug Sinceri. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. Now, beaming back to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studio, here's Doug.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demmer Sinceri, Ida Recovery Connection. We're back for hour number 2. We're on until 10 o'clock. And then on Sunday, we'll be on All Things Legal from 8 to 10. Saints are playing. They're playing the Sunday night game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And so we'll be on. And, you know, the last caller mentioned Albert, or Sam did, and about the roofs, talking about humongous roofs like the ones uptown or an English Turn. What do you say? The ones like English Turn or the lakefront or Albert's big roof. Expansive roof.
I think he's talking about more than just a box.
Just more than just a box. Which I was thinking about Albert's location. And we've missed the St. Patrick's Day parade for the last 2 years.
We have.
Because of COVID. And it's looking good for this year in March. So I did want to invite the listening public to Albert's house for St. Patrick's Day.
Do a save the date.
Save the date. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's the parade that goes along in Metairie. And as we often do, I invite them to Albert's house and say, just walk in. There's 3 rooms and there's the bar. And the bar is stocked in a manner that it is ready for a prohibition. So plenty of drinks and
plenty of food.
And they got a couple of bathrooms downstairs. Don't even ask to use them. Just go to the bathroom. And he's great food too. So that is save the date in March for the St. Patrick's Day parade, and all's invited to Albert's.
All's.
And you can check out his roof.
There you go. Did they have damage from Ida?
I think he did okay.
That's good.
Yeah, I think he did all right. I'm not. Let's see.
Hopefully by then we'll have a new roof.
Yes, if you can hire a good lawyer to help you get it.
I need to find myself a good lawyer to help me get a roof.
Find a good lawyer to get a roof. But I think we can manage. We'll muddle our way through the process. Now here's just we repeat ourselves if you listen to us every week. So we're like a Las Vegas act that does the same act for the most part, with some variations.
Yeah, depending on the callers.
So yeah, depending on the callers, but same variations, just because people are in and out,
right.
in and out. But again, this is a question that I received all week. I've got my initial payment, and I disagree with it very strongly. So I'm not going to cash the check.
Wrong.
Cash
the check.
Please cash the check. Please cash the check, because you're not being prejudiced at all in cashing the check and cashing the check. So I think that's.
You know what I wanted to say too, and a follow up to Sam. Sam called, and it seemed like the insurance company's adjustment was off because the measurements were off.
Right.
And so the numbers weren't adding up. Again, we need to remember that it is not the insurance company's job to quantify our damages. It is our job. And so, if the numbers are off and you have a report from your roofer that gives the appropriate numbers, for me, I would send that over to the insurance company, put them on notice that, hey, your measurements were off. And then again, as you said, if you replace the roof and the price is the price.
I think his concern was, from a negotiation perspective, the the they were going to start at a lower amount because they had the measurements wrong.
Right.
And so the number that he would put up would be a lot higher than the number their insurance companies put up. And so they'll say, if we meet you in the middle, we got a deal. And he feels like that the parameters are not properly set. When you come to roofs, and I guess this is just
I don't know why
advice.
people are negotiating a roof. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
your roof is a
non-negotiable.
roof. It's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. And the last caller asked about overhead and profit, and everybody's got to make a living. I mean, how can you say that?
You're only going to pay for materials.
Yeah, materials and your workers, and the roofer just wakes up every morning and breaks even. He comes
just
home
does
from
it
work.
out of the goodness of his heart.
Comes home from work. He makes husband and wife says, you make any money? He goes, no, but I put on 4 roofs, but I didn't make a cent. And so I feel it's been a good day, which is, but again, that kind of foolishness is just fine. It's almost like just find an answer or a knee jerk response to negotiate. And you just have to get through all that. We do that as lawyers all the time.
Right.
Because when you go through a mediation, the first offer is never going to be accepted. And you get insulted by it. And I tell people in the mediation, I said, you're going to be insulted, and we're going to insult them with our first offer.
Right.
And then you sort of get negotiating.
Well, if you think about it, sometimes what we do as lawyers is you throw everything up against the wall and you see what sticks.
Right.
And I think sometimes the insurance company, the adjusters, they're going to
They
throw
do the same
everything
thing.
at you at the first time. They're going to see what sticks. They're going to see how much you're willing to push back.
But it's up to you to not, to intelligently, provide a intelligent, thoughtful response as to why it doesn't stick.
Right.
And so, a lot of times, and I almost ignore an initial offer because I'm saying I'm not responding to that. This, and just you let them know this is it. I mean, especially if you already paid for the roof, and it's an arm's length transaction. It's not involving family member or brother-in-law or something like that. That's the market value, and they basically have to pay that market value. And there's no getting around it. There's no and ifs and buts about it. And when it comes down to it, if the desk adjuster is back and homeowner paid $20,000, he got it away from $18,000, that's going to make some good lunchroom conversation. Saying, hey, he paid $20,000, but I got him for $18,000, right. Got him for $2,000. So, but you don't need to do that. And if you tell them, okay, if you really want to say, okay, you agree it's 18, I think it's 20, pay me the 18, that's undisputed.
We'll argue over the 2.
Yeah. And if you don't, you just document it, and then you can throw them into a bad faith. And, that's if you learn, you only go through this once every 15 years, or hopefully once in a lifetime. But if you do that, just a few things. If it's a situation where you've paid for a roof, it's 20, and they say it's 18, say, no, well, pay me the 18. That's what you need. That's what you're supposed to do. You just acknowledge that 18 is due. Period. Over. Just tender that to me, and then we'll talk about the rest later.
And remember, put it in writing.
Yeah, I get that in writing. And in fact, I would put in writing that they offered 18, and he's not going to pay you because or acknowledges 18, and he's trying to leverage that. He's trying to leverage the homeowner to take an 18 instead of what he's entitled to 20 by holding back that 18, and that in itself is bad faith. So, I would just, just don't be afraid to negotiate. And the more you do it, or the more you get, sort of, throw a few punches, so to speak, not no literally, but
Mhm.
you become a little more comfortable with it. And
But you have to remember, some people that is just not their nature, and they
right,
don't feel
but
comfortable with it.
negotiation is a lifelong. It's a good life skill.
Sure.
I mean, because everything's negotiated in life. You negotiate with your kids, you negotiate with your spouse, you negotiate with your neighbors, you negotiate with your family, you negotiate with workers, you negotiate everything. And at some point,
Mhm.
it involves negotiation. So it's a good life skill, and I think you just think about what you're doing, and if they make the admission that they should be paid something, but they don't want to pay the full amount, and you say, okay, well, just stop. You acknowledge we owe this. Please cut the check and get that in. And you know, I'll put it to you this way. Let's say I owe you $10. Okay,
Okay.
and you want your $10 back.
Right.
If I hold the whole $10 back, you're more likely to take five because you're like, well, it's better to have five than none.
Right.
But
That's
let's
human
say,
nature.
you say, well, give me the five first, and we'll talk about the other five. You already got five in your pocket, so
Right.
you're really only negotiating from $1.05 to 10,
Right.
instead of from $0 to
Right.
10.
Mhm.
And so you sort of just bite a little bit off at a time and say, just pay me for this then, and then get that in, and then you go back and say, well, okay,
Right.
well, this is undisputed. And a lot of times that's a good way of eventually getting it in an incremental fashion. So just it's just use whatever thoughtful negotiation tactic you can.
And remember, ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions. I always say I learned negotiations in 1989.
I'm afraid.
No, it's true.
Okay.
It was back in my agent days.
Oh, okay. I thought you had
And
to say
and and
about
I
Columbus.
I had a free agent right when Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, and I was one of the first. I had a free agent who was one of the first players he was going to sign, and we didn't really know the market for him. It was called Plan B, and I called around. I called Pat Pepler, who used to be the general manager of the Saints under Bum, and he was the assistant head coach for the Packers under Vince Lombardi, I think. And I called a few Hamp Cook and a few other people, and I said, "What's the market?" And he told me. And so what I decided to do was I decided to mark up my offer by 66%.
Okay.
And I submitted to Bob Ackles, who was, I think, is director of player personnel for the Cowboys. And I submitted it expecting them,
To counter.
yeah, but they took it.
So it means you left money on the table.
Ooh, I was
Okay,
sick
we're
to my
gonna need a
stomach.
break.
I was sick to my stomach, and that was that was the best negotiation lesson I ever learned. It was very painful, but what happened was, if they tell you no, you're in no worse position you were before.
Right.
And the reason they said yes at that time was because I left money on the table. And I had a very unhappy client.
Yeah.
I still apologize to Terrence. Sorry, Terrence. But that was a lesson. And that's, negotiation is and that's, they can only tell you no. So, start a little higher.
Well,
And
and
if
just
you,
and
and
just think that the no is a positive, because you at least you have
you,
you know where you're playing. You know where
right,
the range is.
the parameters are. But, and if you have something that's non-negotiable, make it non-negotiable. Make it very clear. I'm not negotiating on
Yeah.
this.
I think a roof
Period.
is non-negotiable. If
I
you
think it
paid
is.
for it, it is non-negotiable.
Absolutely not. Absolutely, unless there's an upgrade or there's
Right.
something that was unusual. So there.
Right.
All right. Well, let's go to a break. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demers, Sinceri, Ida Recovery Connection. We'll be right back after this brief time.
WWL is your home team.
Okay, I had a very shy caller on from Baton Rouge. His predicament is this. the flood insurance adjuster won't talk to him without taking a look at the
wind
wind
estimate, right?
factor of his payout.
Yes, that's true. Okay, gotcha. That's a good question. I'm gonna address that.
WWL. DraftKings Sportsbook is coming soon to Louisiana. It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving customers $100 in free bets when you sign up before they go live. No deposit required. DraftKings is bringing their experience as a leader in daily fantasy sports to the sports betting world and have created one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BIG870 when you sign up. Those who sign up right now will get $100 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Louisiana. That's code BIG870 to get $100 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. 7867. 21 and over. Louisiana only. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions.
Ramsey's is known for 3 things:
1,
engagement rings,
2,
diamonds,
3.
fashion, and Nola's a fashion city.
Diamond hoop earrings.
With diamonds on the outside,
And on the inside of the hoop, 1 carat total weight,
$2,199 with Earth Mine diamonds,
$1,099 with created diamonds. And we've got diamond hoops up to 4 carats.
a 3-carat diamond tennis bracelet,
Just $2,199 with created diamonds.
$29.99 with Earth Mine diamonds,
And we've got tennis bracelets up to 17 carats.
Diamond Riviera necklaces are like a string of pearls.
But instead of pearls,
It's diamonds all the way around.
you'll find 8 carat
10-carat,
and 15 carat Riviera necklaces at Ramsey's.
and as always, fantastic financing is available with approved credit.
A diamond Christmas is a good Christmas.
Ramsey's Diamond Jewelers, the largest diamond in Louisiana, on Veterans between Bonneville and West End in Metairie.
I'm Erin, and this is my life with California Closets. I purchased a historic home that's over 150 years old. One of the biggest things old houses don't have is closet storage and organization. And in a modern life, you really need to store a lot of things. Working with California Closets was the only way to get exactly what I needed. It really makes my life better. I finally have my dream home, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it.
Schedule your free design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com.
Christmas is a special but busy time for Louisiana families. Our goal is to help them save time for enjoying the company of other loved ones. The incredible edible egg makes the most of the holiday season by offering tasty recipes sure to delight. Visit laegg.com for time-saving recipes, ideas, and tips on the versatility of eggs. This message is brought to you by the Louisiana Egg Commission. I'm Commissioner Mike Strain, reminding you to include the incredible edible egg at your Christmas table.
Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future
Okay, we're
results.
going live after this
I
one.
want to talk to you about cryptocurrency. Did you know that if you invested $10 in Bitcoin in 2010, it would be worth over $400,000 in January 2021? Crypto could represent the future of money, but it can be intimidating. And what about taxes? Well, with an Alto Crypto IRA, you can trade crypto like Bitcoin and avoid or defer the taxes. You can create an account in just minutes and invest with as little as $10 with no setup charges and no account fees. There are over 80 coins available like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. Make a cash contribution or transfer cash from an existing IRA. Invest just $10 today. Who knows what it could be worth in 10 years? Ready to take your investments to the next level? Diversify like the pros and trade without tax headaches. Open an Alto Crypto IRA with as little as $10. Just go to altoira.com/start. That's ALTOIRA.com/start. Start investing in cryptocurrency today. Go to altoira.com/START.
Thanks for joining attorney Doug Sinceri on the Ida Recovery Connection. From the station you turn to when it counts, WWL. Consult with Doug now on the Open Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demarest. Sinceri, Ida Recovery Connection. During the break, Doug Christina, who's our engineer, back in the studio in downtown New Orleans, had said a shy caller, posed a great question, saying she has a flood claim, and the flood adjuster does not want to do his adjustment until he sees the wind adjustment. Is that right?
That's pretty typical.
Yeah, and I had that question posed to me last week, and I said just give it to him because you don't double collect.
Right.
Where one starts, the other stops. And so, because the flood's a different deal, and I was going to talk about that the later part of the show, is flood is not governed by Louisiana law. It is governed by federal law. The flood policies are underwritten by FEMA, and they do not have penalties if they don't pay. And basically, their coverage is very limited. They do not have loss of use. They do not have additional living expenses. You only get paid for structure. In certain parts of the structure that's not attached, you will not get paid for,
Right.
and also for contents.
And they only have to make it like habitable or sustainable.
Yeah, it's not as it's the whole theory is this: private insurers did not want to write flood insurance because it's too much of a risk. I think there's a statistic that indicates that 90% of people live within 60 miles of a major body of water, which makes it a high risk for flood. And so the federal government decided to underwrite flood insurance, and it's not a program that makes money. It's perpetually the fund is perpetually depleted, and so and the coverages are very limited. So therefore, if they don't pay on time, there's no penalty. They have a lot of power. The other aspect of the flood policy, which I was going to get into, is if you have a flood claim and you want to file a supplement, you're going to have to file something called a proof of loss with an estimate before February 26th. If you do not do that, you will lose your right to get a supplement. And whatever they paid you, no matter how deficient it is, how much it missed, you're not going to get paid. Even if the claims adjuster says, I'm going to pay you more.
Right.
And you don't file a supplemental proof of loss and you're not paid before February 26th, even though he told you that, they have no obligation to pay you and they probably won't. So, and you can Google proof of loss, FEMA, it'll pop up. Chances are if you received an initial payment, you had to fill out a proof of loss claim. And you're going to have to attach that to an estimate that demonstrates the supplement. And, the federal government is weary from paying off flood claims in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Not,
and I know during Katrina, some of the issues was it flood or wind versus flood? Where did the damage come from?
And yeah, that is. But at least if you put in your proof of loss,
right, you're preserving your claim.
You're preserving your claim. If you don't put in your proof of loss, you lose your claim for a supplement. And we're gonna be filing proof of losses starting probably right after the first of the year for flood.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it will bite you in the backside if you don't do it right. And the federal government's got the compassion of the federal government, and they're
and I wouldn't wait till the last minute because they're not easy to fill out.
They're not easy, and you need a good estimate because even if your estimate's not good, I'm telling you, they will fight. They will fight you tooth and nail, especially now, because I just get a general sense that they're tired of paying flood claims down here.
Right.
And the government's $28 trillion in debt, so they don't feel like they're in times of great prosperity right now, as far as from financial.
Plus there's so many disasters going on right now, and so they're probably very, spread thin.
Yes,
we have all the tornadoes that just went through that 200-mile radius. FEMA comes in for that.
You had Laura in Lake Charles, where you had a lot of that, and and mostly like in St. John Parish and St. Charles Parish, you had a lot of flooding because you had, the water was diverted with all the Katrina repairs when they dammed up the South Shore of Orleans and Jefferson. The water started traveled west, and so I'm being very again and again. If you have a flood claim, you have to do this proof of loss. And, actually, I remember 17 years ago, Earl Carr,
I remember you telling me that.
he was the only one at the time who really knew the law.
Right.
Because we didn't have a lot of flood claims in Louisiana, or not a mass flood claim. A lot of attorneys just assumed it worked like homeowners. And when they filed it like a homeowner's claim, they were surprised as to.
Did they give him any leeway?
Katrina, they did a little bit, somewhat, but even if they gave you leeway, they would tell you didn't file a correct proof of loss. So if we're going to give you more, you better take what you. There was no negotiation. Yeah. And you had a lot of claims adjusters who said, "You don't need to file proof of loss. I'm going to pay you," and they didn't get paid. And the law says, "Well, that's too bad."
Right.
You're imputed with knowing FEMA flood law. If there's like in under a homeowner's policy, if the claims adjuster misrepresents an attribute of the policy, that could be bad faith, and that could be penalties and attorney's fees.
Under FEMA, that's just the government.
No, but under FEMA, what it says, even though we told you wrong, you're still imputed with knowing what's correct. And just because our guy told you something wrong, that's your problem, not ours.
Right.
So, again, for St. Charles, St. John, if a lot of people haven't even got paid on their flood claim yet. And if you haven't been paid on your flood claim before February 26th, you better darn well file proof of loss, because you might not get paid anything. And I'm not being overly dramatic, because, the federal government, when it comes to these claims, are like the Titanic.
Yeah, it's hard to move them. They don't move.
They don't move. You have to start turning the wheel about 2 years before, or 2 miles before you want it to turn. Now, and at the time when we had Katrina, we had a very strong magistrate judge, Jay Wilkerson, and he wasn't scared of anybody. What he thought, and he didn't. Everybody was treated the same, very fairly, but he wasn't intimidated by the federal government, and he sort of put out a protocol on how to deal with this. And but again, I'm spending a little time on this because it's very, very important, because a lot of people are going to come to me in March and April, like they did for the other storms,
right,
and said, I want to file a supplement, and I'm going to have to turn them away, saying it's too late. And there are some big discrepancies. People who were paid, should have been paid $100,000 were paid 20 or 30, and I have to tell them there's nothing I can do for you.
Yeah.
So again, so that was a very good question. So, but if you have a flood and wind claim, and your flood adjuster wants to see the wind claim, give it to them, because you can't double collect anyway, and it could help you in some ways.
Right.
So just go ahead and do it. That was a very good question, and I wish you had came on the air, because I would have given her credit on the air. Don't be shy anymore. We don't bite, do we? We're pretty.
I don't bite.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
How Claudia told me, be good to all the callers. Never alienate anybody.
Never. No. I don't find you alienate anybody.
I try not to. Hap used to be an LSU fan, but he said nobody's going to know whether I'm an LSU and Tulane fan, because I don't want to alienate the Tulane fans.
That's good.
That was at a time where you couldn't like Tulane and LSU, but now we all love each other, and kumbaya. So all right, let's go to a break. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demers Sinceri, I had a recovery connection. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
After a weekend of football, it's time to second guess. And nobody does it better than the Cajun Cannon, because he's been there, done that. Join Bobby Hebert and NFL analyst Mike Detillier for Second Guess. Mondays at 4 o'clock.
There are no callers as of this moment.
Host on the coast. Analyze Saints and NFL games like a pro. Second Guess with the two Cajuns, Bobby and Mike. Mondays from 4 p.m. till they get tired of talking on WWL.
Everybody has a story. We don't always know where it'll take us.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, eating pie, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. I thought about those days after my stroke. Wondered if I'd make it back to the places and people I love. But I got the right care from the right doctors because I chose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana.
When health issues surface, it's good to know you can rely on the strength of the cross and protection of the shield. Your card opens the door to a large network of quality providers to care for you.
The card matters. What you call home does too.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana has been helping Louisianians get care for generations. With the right card, the right care, you can get back to your story and to what you call home. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, and more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry. And there's no better place to shop than Diamonds Direct, where making memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we've put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands for every taste and every price range. And to make it easier to splurge this season, we're offering 4 years, zero-interest financing on any holiday purchase. So that $5,000 Eternity Band is just over $100 a month. And that $10,000 designer diamond ring, just around $200 a month. With this special offer, everything's affordable. So come to Diamonds Direct. Let our experts help you choose that perfect headliner gift for this holiday season. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit. On Severn Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
'Tis the season for Christmas music magic, and all of your favorite holiday stations are now here with the Odyssey app.
Let it snow with songs that bring Christmas cheer wherever you go.
Warm up your home with holiday music from home entertainment devices like Roku, Chromecast, Sonos, and more.
Just look for the Odyssey app.
Want to access more stations through your car?
Try out Odyssey with Waves or Apple CarPlay. Plus, listen to your favorite Christmas radio stations on your phone with the Odyssey app.
This Christmas, your holiday favorites are all on Odyssey.
I'm former NBA player Don Chaney. For years, I had carpal tunnel syndrome and joint pain. Then I started having heart-related symptoms like fatigue and palpitations. Turns out I had heart failure caused by hereditary transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare, life-threatening disease underdiagnosed in African Americans. If you're African American and over 50 with heart failure experiencing unresolved symptoms, talk to your doctor or visit DonKnowsHisHeart.com.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Have you hit a wall with your hurricane insurance claim? Been underpaid? We can send an adjuster to you and it won't cost you anything unless we get you paid. This is Bart Kelly from Alvindia Kelly and Demarest, or AKD Law in New Orleans. We have fought successfully for home and business owners since Katrina to help them get the settlements they deserve. Get the peace of mind of calling in a proven winner as your legal home team. Visit akdlaw.com or call 504-200-0000. Results may vary. Filing number LA21-12375.
Hey folks, Bobby Abear here from my friends over at Clearwater Pools and Spas. Enjoy the cool outdoors with a hot tub from Clearwater Pools and Spas. They offer a large selection, including hot spring spas in Covington, Metairie, Baton Rouge, Pearl, and Gulfport, Mississippi. CWNOLA.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find
one more short one after this and we'll
Sure,
go live.
You can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Avoid giving useless gifts and knickknacks this holiday season, and look for durable items that will last for years. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
It's continuing coverage of the Ida recovery on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Reach attorney Doug Sinceri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line. 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demarest Sinceri on the Ida Recovery Connection. Now, we will talk about Ida hurricane claims 1 second, and we're talking about LSU Tulane 40 years ago in the next.
Okay.
And that's what we were doing the last segment, and I was making an analogy that had nothing to do with Ida hurricane claims.
No.
But so we got a text from Charlie, who he says, because you see now, like when I was growing up in 1973, December, what was it, December 14th, when Tulane beat LSU 14-0 for the first time in 1973.
And you're looking at me like I would know?
Yeah, that was the same year that Secretariat won the Triple Crown. And the
Okay.
last time Tulane beat LSU was 1948 when Citation won the Triple Crown.
Okay.
So that's our neighbor, Joe Hyde. That's how he knew Tulane would win, and he put a few mortgage payments on that fact. Because he knew. No, we were talking about the boogie, but anyway.
The joys of
the joys of growing up on Beverly Gardens. But so we were saying, and I remember that. I think I was heaving. I was so upset at the end of the game because I was so, because my dad had a lot of Tulane friends at the time.
You see, growing up, everybody I knew was for Tulane.
Yeah. Well, my dad was the LSU guy, but they had a lot of Tulane friends. Mm-hmm. And he just caught it. He caught it full and I felt bad for him. I was heartbroken, I think it was a tough night. But you had to be in one camp or the other. Mm-hmm. You couldn't be in both.
Right.
But now you can be in both. I pull for Tulane. I mean, I loved Coach Bowden when he coached there. He was great.
There's some things you can't be in both camps, but you can for Tulane and LSU.
Absolutely. But Charlie says, I still cheer for Tulane. I hate LSU. We'll never change. And if you know Charlie, you would probably say, I believe it.
That's funny.
Maybe. And it's funny because his brother is a LSU guy.
Yes.
So, anybody who knows Charles and his brother, he's more than an LSU guy. And,
He's more than an LSU guy?
He was a well-known LSU guy, I guess. So that may have something to do with it. Might have something to do with it. So Charlie, I cheer for both. I don't hate anybody anymore. So
anymore.
So anyway, how do we get on that? We digress. We often digress. Ian said, program manager. He says anything goes at night.
Okay.
So anything is going.
Okay.
But so there you go. And one of the issues I received, it was just interesting. It was talking about floors. I'm going from LSU football 40 years ago.
What was the question about floors?
Buckling, wood floors buckling.
Yeah.
And can they be sanded down?
I would never want my wood floors to be sanded down.
I was about to ask. I would say if our wood floors were buckling and the insurance adjuster says you can sand them down, I would say, will you just wait a moment while I call my wife in the other room and let you have a conversation with her?
And I would say, absolutely. That would be a non-negotiable.
Right. No, I mean, you can't do that.
You can't.
Because you can't match the stain.
You can't match the stain. I think you lose the wearability. It depends on what kind of floors you have.
Now, the other thing that says you can just replace the wood floors in that particular spot.
I don't think so.
Well, it's a matching issue.
It is.
Generally, if you have buckling floors, it's a continuous floor.
Right.
So if you got 1,500 square feet of continuous floors, you change it all.
And I think it depends on what type of floors.
Yeah. There's different.
If you have engineered wood, you get the same kind. That might be different.
That would be different. But and you're right. It's and also too, you have the laminate floors. If it's been underwater for a while, they have something that's set in motion where even though they're not buckling, they're with a terminal disease and they will buckle. It's sort of set into motion, much like air conditions that go underwater. Because one of the issues we have in flood claims and also wind claims is whether those air conditions have to be replaced. And a lot of times after a flood or a storm, the air conditioner might be working at 60% capacity. And you can tell. And at that point, it has a terminal disease, and they say, well, your air conditioner still works, but it's in stage 4. It's got a lifespan of anywhere from a couple of months to a year, and so that's one of the issues too with air conditioners. And
so in that situation, you would just get an AC, HAC,
you get a
HVAC
guy,
expert.
and he could make an opinion, even if it's running. He could say, I expect this. It's irreparably damaged and it's going to die.
Right, or you lost so many years on the life of it.
Yeah, and then at that point you have a factual basis for getting a new air condition. But I was thinking about that when he was telling me that when he said that you could just sand it down. I said, "Ooh, you lucky you're not in a certain home in Mandeville," and telling that.
I'm glad we didn't have that issue.
Yeah, you wouldn't have that. Yes, that's it. And I think the other thing too is the issue is the sheetrock, because a lot of if it's got a high moisture content, even though it may not be visible, but you do the readings that indicate it's got a high moisture content, it is in something set in motion where you could have mold.
Mold, yes.
And so if you have that and you don't change it, you sort of playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, and I was wondering about these people who have not taken out the sheetrock and are waiting.
Well, I will tell you something that's very interesting. And you said that when they had Hurricane Betsy in 1965, you had less sophistication as far as repairs.
Okay.
Because a lot of people would just, if they're, they would just, they had wet sheetrock, they just paint over it.
Mm.
Because hey, it was a can-do type of attitude. Hey, another hurricane, we're just going to fix it. We might get a few bucks from an insurance company, but we're going to deal with it. And they would just basically a lot of times just paint over the damage or dry it out. And one of the issues in a lot of those, and this is looking hindsight, a lot of the issues that coming out of those houses, during that time period was asthma.
That's interesting.
Because they had a lot, because they had that like with a lot of housing projects that weren't well maintained. You'd have a lot of moisture in the walls, and then it wasn't well maintained, and a lot of kids had respiratory conditions. But you had a lot of those houses that were flooded and damaged. Water goes down, they dry it out, sort of paint over it, and you didn't have the you didn't have internet. You just you didn't have a lot of the information. If you needed information on mold, you had to go to the library. I mean, it wasn't like it was ready available.
Right.
And what to do and how to remediate. You didn't have all the sophistication that they do now. But in a lot of these old houses that were hurricane damaged from Betsy, a lot of the occupants, especially young occupants, kids had respiratory issues.
To break.
And yeah, it was. And so my point in saying that is, if you do have water damaged walls, you start playing Russian roulette if you don't change them out. If it has sufficient moisture content, it might not manifest right away, but it could. So, all right, let's go to a final break. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demarest Sinceri, and I, the Recovery Connection. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
What a year! End it on a high note with a gift of emeralds, sapphires, rubies, pearls, or, of course, natural diamonds from Oak Heart Jewelers. Choose from a stunning selection of rings, bracelets, earrings, and necklaces.
Okay, no callers are evident at the moment. We'll have about 5 minutes to fill before the top of the show, top of the hour, end of the show.
Gotcha.
The store is always so warm and inviting, and the people instantly make me feel like I'm part of the family. It also doesn't hurt that they have an incredible range of beautiful jewelry. Jade's so right. What could compare to an exclusive design from our award-winning Oak Heart master craftsmen? We searched the world for design inspiration and for those standout gorgeous gemstones. We then buy them direct at the lowest possible price. Gemstones from Thailand, Brazil, India, Australia, all around the world. Now part of the Oak Heart collection. Make this year exceptional. in a good way, with a gift from Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road.
The following ad is paid for by McClenny Mosley and Associates, 1820 St. Charles Avenue, Suite 110, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70130. Attention homeowners with homeowners insurance. If your home was damaged by the recent Hurricane Ida, you may qualify for additional compensation. Was your home damaged by Hurricane Ida? Are you concerned you were cheated or underpaid by your insurance company? If so, it's not too late to receive the compensation you deserve. In August 2021, much of Louisiana was devastated by a violent hurricane, leaving destruction in its path. Insurance companies often underpay and purposely undervalue claims for weather damage to homes, leaving you to pick up the pieces. You may be entitled to significant compensation and bad faith damages. Know your rights. Call McClenny Mosley and Associates. We have the experience needed to fight insurance companies for the value you deserve. Call now for a free evaluation of your claim.
Please call 800-299-5552. That is 800-299-5552.
Food so good, you just can't stop thinking about it. Imagine slow-cooked beef rib roast served on a bed of mixed greens, topped with cheddar cheese, tomatoes, and bacon pieces. That's our fourth and goal beef rib roast salad at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. And for dessert, try our Heath Toffee Crumble Cheesecake, New York-style cheesecake on a walnut graham cracker crust covered with toffee pieces, chocolate, and caramel. Only at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant.
Big things are popping at Vinyltech as 18-wheelers are still rolling in. We have supplies to complete your roof fast. Sign a contract today and we will install tomorrow. Tearing all roofs down to the deck and changing bad wood, putting a total new system on your roof in days. Vinyltech will give you a roofing quote within 24 hours and a new roof in 3 days. Apply at vinyltechnola.com for 30-plus years of trouble-free confidence. 24-hour online quotes now and a new roof in days. vinyltechnola.com.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Ascension Equipment in Gonzales is your Southeast Louisiana Kubota dealer. Save more today and mow tomorrow.
Cleco customers can learn how to make their homes more energy efficient in 10 minutes or less with Cleco's new online home energy audit. Hear from the experts on how to make your home more energy efficient and earn rebates when you make certain improvements and purchases. To receive your customized report, just visit cleco.com/energy efficiency. Click on the online energy audit box, answer a few simple questions, and start saving today.
Is your retirement plan out of tune? Learn how to get yours.
Okay, one more after this and we'll go live.
Financial Show. Join host David Compton Saturday morning 8 to 9 for helpful tips to retirement. The First Security Financial Show. Saturdays on WWL. For all station contest rules, go to WWL.com/rules. Back to Ida Recovery Connection on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. You can get expert advice now from attorney Doug Sinceri on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
All right, we're back. Doug Sinceri, Michelle Demers Sinceri. The Ida Recovery Connection will be on Sunday morning, Albert and I, on All Things Legal from 8 to 10. And we just got a text, and I immediately thought about you when we got the text. And so if you want to read it, and then you can comment on it also.
It says, good evening. How to deal with insurance which claims that I can take out my installed carpet, clean it, and put it back. Carpet received water through the roof.
I could see a guy in a red.
No.
I would say I could see a guy in the red shirt in the khaki shacks telling you that you
That's
have
just
to.
the most interesting thing. Like, I'm going to take it out, like, wash it, stretch it, put it back.
You know what I would say? I'll make a deal. We will take your uniform, let it sit in a pond in our backyard for about 3 days, and have you put it back on.
Right.
And if you do that,
you can rinse it out.
Yeah, and you can rinse it out, and we'll keep the carpet.
Right. Yeah, that would be non-negotiable.
And that pond has a lot of runoff of fertilizer.
Right.
So among other things.
Yeah, I think that's about as non-negotiable as the roof.
Absolutely. I mean, I've heard that too. I've used the analogy of a wedding dress. I said, if your daughter had a wedding dress and it sat in water, would you want her to wear it on that day? And I said, well, what's different?
Right.
It's sort of the knee jerk reaction that they'll say.
I think that's one of the, let's throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
Right.
See what they say.
So,
it can't hurt. Maybe they'll say yes.
Right. Well, I would say that 2 out of 10 people would say, okay, I guess that's the way it is.
Right.
And they saved maybe a couple $1,000.
Right.
So it doesn't hurt asking.
Right. So texter, I would say no.
No. All right. We got 2 minutes. Tomorrow, big day for LSU, early signing period.
There you go.
You always have difficulties during transitions, coaching transitions. So if Brian Kelly can land about 14, that's good. That would be good. Because Nick Saban, I think, only landed 13 his first year. And, there's always, in that transfer portal, I'm not liking it. I mean,
I think that makes the game so much.
I mean, it's not college football anymore. It's basically minor league football.
Right.
And you have players who shop in the transfer portal to get the better deal. NIL deal, and
it's like no one wants to wait their turn.
No, it's a microwave generation there. Wait their turn. I mean, look, Miles Brennan might be coming back to LSU. I mean, he went to transfer portal, but a lot of times if you wait, you will get your opportunity. Matt Flynn had to wait 4 years and got a national championship.
Joe Burrow waited.
Joe Burrow waited. Well, he left though.
He left. I know, but he did wait. He wasn't a freshman.
No, he waited 3 years. But I think there's some value. When I used to coach, do we got another text? When I used to coach, I mean, I would bench somebody, and I'd have the parent come up to me and say, "Well, my kid should be playing." I say, "He may be, may not."
Right.
But there's a life lesson there about being ready. And when your name's called, you be ready. I said, "Look," if your kid is working at IBM and doesn't get the promotion, are you going to go to the IBM manager and complain?
There are some parents who probably would.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot.
Yeah.
But still, I just don't like it, and I think the game's going to change. You're going to have some players who might play for 3 or 4 teams in 4 years.
Things change.
And and if to coach them, because you can't really get on them, because if you get on them, they're going to say transfer portal. I hurt my feelings. Or part of a coach is challenging someone to make them better. But in the midst of being challenged, a lot of times you're going to want to buck back, but you stay with it. But
I think that's the character of the player.
Yeah. Well, anyway. All right. Well, that's a wrap on the Ida Recovery Connection, which had nothing to do with Ida the last 2 minutes. But we'll be back on Sunday morning on All Things Legal, so stay tuned. And thank you, Michelle, for walking across the hall and keeping us company. And
thank you
doing
for
a great
having
job.
me.
And y'all have a great week. And we'll see you on Sunday and next Tuesday on Ida Recovery Connection. I will see you then.
The News Talk Sports Leader, WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD1.
Call their attorney.